गोविल सर, गुड आफ्टरनून।
हाँ, गुड आफ्टरनून। कैसे हैं आप?
मैं ठीक हूँ सर।
नमस्कार। आई एम सॉरी।
No problem, sir. You are in time. Vijay Khurana sir and Ravi Gupta sir have some technical issues, so they are trying to join back again.
Okay.
Ravi sir, good afternoon. Can you hear me, sir? Sir, good afternoon, sir.
आफ्टरनून सर, डीजी सर नमस्कार, और गोविल सर को भी नमस्कार।
नमस्कार डॉक्टर, नमस्कार। कैसे हैं?
नमस्कार। नमस्कार रवि जी।
जी सर। जी
Sir, can we start, sir?
हाँ, टाइम तो 2:30 का है ना
सर? इनॉग्रल हमारा पहले है ना, 2:30 पे हमारा सेशन है। प्रोफेसर Aminul has also joined the session, sir.
Okay.
From Malaysia, Professor Aminul has already joined, sir.
Sure. It's I'm sorry then, I'm late. Please.
Okay, fine, sir. Welcome. Yamini and Shaurik.
Dr. Seuss once stated, "The more that you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you will go." A very warm afternoon to honorable dignitaries, learned delegates, respected teachers and students. I, Yamini,
and I, Shaurya,
on behalf of ThinkQuest Club, feel honored to welcome you all to Research Congress 2021.
The Research Congress, an initiative to strengthen the research and analytical thinking of the faculty, PhD scholars, and students. The Congress will help the participants conduct sound, practical, and innovative research. The event focuses on the essentiality of research, different research techniques, applicability of research methodology, branding techniques on LinkedIn, process of publication of research in esteemed journals, and promotion of research work on scholarly websites.
ThinkQuest Club focuses on the very important aspect, research. Research not only breaks new grounds, but also helps to concretize, modify, or nullify existing knowledge. It allows you to build on any personal experience you have with the subject and opens up opportunities for learning and growth. It helps students to understand the significance of research as a subject. In December 2020, the club organized an international conference in collaboration with Lincoln University, Malaysia, providing a platform for students, academicians, and scholars to present their research papers. The club is coordinated by Dr. Parul Kumar, Senior Assistant Professor, Ms. Rachita Agarwal, Assistant Professor, and Ms. Neha Bhagat, Assistant Professor at MEMS.
Now, I would like to introduce the convener of the Research Congress 21, Dr. Ravikumar. Dr. Kumar, a keen researcher, trainer, and educator, having an experience of more than a decade. She has conducted corporate training sessions, FGP, workshops on SPSS, Smart PLS, AMOs, EViews, and Advanced Excel. She has also taken sessions on regression analysis, structural equation modeling, research methodology, research paper writing, and data analysis at various institutes of high repute. She holds certification in data analytics, predictive modeling, financial modeling, regression analysis from Wharton, Johns Hopkins, and Rice University. She has authored and co-authored various research papers published in SSCI, Scopus, ABDC, UGC Care, and refereed journals. She has been awarded Best Business Academic of the Year Silver Medal by India Commerce Association 70th All India Commerce Conference, Jaipur. I would like to request Dr. Parul ma'am to welcome the dignitaries.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sarve bhavantu sukhinam, sarve santu nirmaya, sarve bhadrani pashyate, ma kashyat dukhe bhagavad. May all be prosperous and happy. May all be free from illness. May all see what is spiritually uplifting. May no one suffer. With this blessing for all of you and the whole humanity, I would like to extend my warm greetings to the Dr. Nand Kishore Garg, the founder, chairman, and the chief advisor, MAIDS, who has always been the pillar of strength, constant support, and encouragement to all of us in all our endeavors. I am delighted to welcome our esteemed resource person of the day, Professor Dr. Muhammad Aminul Islam, Professor at Faculty of Applied and Human Sciences, University of Malaysia, Perlis. It is a great pleasure, sir, to have you with us today. I also take pride in welcoming BBA 2013 alumnus, Mr. Jeffy, who is presently working as the project manager at Nelson. My warm greetings to Professor Dr. S Kiger, Director Journal MAIMS, Professor Dr. Goel, Advisor MAIMS, Professor Dr. Ravikumar Gupta, Director MAIMS, for their constant support and initiative. I would also like to welcome Professor Dr. Sangeeta Malik, Dean MAIMS, Professor Dr. Rashni Malhotra Dhingra, Principal Department of Law, Professor Dr. Vijay Kumar Khurana, Head Department of Business Administration and Coordinator IQAC, Professor Praveen Kumar Gupta, Head Department of Law, Professor Vinita Gupta, Head Department of Journalism, Professor Manju Gupta and Dr. Rashna Jain, Head Department of Commerce, and Dr. Sanjay Mangla, Head Department of Economics. Very warm welcome all the dignitaries. I also extend my greetings to the academicians, research scholars, and the student fraternity who has joined from the various parts of India in this Research Congress 2020. And to name a few, we have the people from Punjab, Lucknow, Mumbai, Chandigarh, Rajasthan, Mizoram, Coimbatore, Meghalaya, Rishikesh, Bangalore, Karnal, Dehradun, Kurukshetra, Chennai, Calcutta, and many more. And we also have the privilege to have international participants from Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Bahrain, and Jakarta. I wholeheartedly welcome my whole MAIMS, MATE, and MAU fraternity, and the students as well as all the faculty members. The Research Congress 2021 is deeply honored to welcome you all. The objective behind planning this 1 week research congress is to have better acquaintance with the essentials and the importance of research for early academicians, research scholars, and students. It would also strengthen the research analysis skills of the seasoned academicians and the researchers, along with giving greater insights on the publication opportunities. As all of us know that self-branding and promotion of the research work plays a key and critical role in everyone's professional life, along with helping in institutional building. Thus, the sessions on leveraging LinkedIn and promotion of research on various platforms have been included in this Research Congress 2021. In the end, I would like to mention the beautiful quotes come life lessons by Albert Einstein. First, follow the curiosity. Second, perseverance is priceless. Third, focus on present. Fourth, the imagination is powerful. Fifth, make mistakes. Sixth, live in the moment. Seven, create the value. 8, don't be repetitive. Bring something new. 9th, knowledge comes from the experience. And the 10th, learn the rules, then play better. Not later, play better. Thank you very much and welcome you all.
Now, for the theme address, I feel acclaimed to have with us the head of Department of Business Administration and Coordination, IQAC, Professor Dr. Vijay Kumar Khurana. Professor Dr. Vijay Kumar Khurana carries a rich experience of more than 35 years in industry and academia. He has officiated as a director at a few management institutes, namely DPCIM, RCM, and HIM. He is the editor of MEMS Journal of Management. He has also acted as the editor-in-chief of 3 other journals in the past, published various research papers, and has authored a well-known book titled Management of Technology and Innovation. His areas of expertise include finance, taxation, and quantitative methods, among others. I would like to invite Dr. Vijay Kumar Khurana to enlighten us by addressing the theme of the session.
Okay, so very good afternoon to all of you. Just give me 1 minute. I would like to share my PPT. And what are the options here? How to stop annotations? Okay, 3 more. Actually, I think you have got stop meeting information. Meeting. Okay. Okay, so am I audible? A very good afternoon to all of you.
Yes,
good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. So I'm very happy to join this particular session. So today we are organizing 1 week. I think you can see my slide also, Dr. Parul.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I've got tendency to share a slide in the sense sometime that is breaking. So I feel that I should reach out to the audience either through written slide presentation or maybe through verbal presentation also. So that is my belief. So it is my indeed privilege to join all of you today at this afternoon. So at the outset, heartiest welcome to all of you. It is indeed my privilege to express my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Nand Kishore, Founder Chair and Chief Advisor Mates. It is his blessings only that we keep on organizing one activity or the other. Respected Professor Dr. S Kiger, Director General MEMS, Professor Dr. Goel, Advisor Mates, and our energetic and dynamic Director, Professor Dr. Ravikumar Gupta, Director MEMS. You see, they have always been source of great inspiration and support for all of us. In fact, because of their blessings only, we keep on organizing one activity or the other. We all of us know that these are difficult times, but still we keep on organizing different activities. Kunal, down कैसे होगा? Okay. I also extend our heartiest welcome to Professor Dr. Muhammad Aminul Islam, Professor, Faculty of Applied and Human Sciences, University of Malaysia, Perlis, who is our learned speaker of first session on essentials of research. Welcome, sir. I welcome you. Kunal, कैसे बताया था बेटा? हाँ? This is okay. Okay. I also extend our heartiest welcome to our alumnus, Mr. Jeffy, Project Manager Nielsen, who has agreed to join us today, and he is going to share his experiences with us. Dean Professor Dr. Sangeeta Malik, Principal Law Professor Dr. Rani Dingra Malhotra, Head BHMC Professor Dr. Vinita Gupta, HOD Law Dr. Praveen Kumar Gupta ji, then HOD Commerce Dr. Manju Gupta in absentia, and Dr. Rachna Jain, and also Dr. Sanjay Mangla, HOD Economics, and all other colleagues and all the participants. It is indeed my privilege to welcome all of you. I am again, this I was sharing yesterday also, but again I'm in a position to repeat because the audience is somewhat different. So I am happy to share that our institute MAIMS always strives to be a pioneer in quality education. So even yesterday we were talking about when the lockdown due to COVID-19 was announced last year in the March 2020. We were the first college in the entire Delhi NCR to immediately switch to digital or online mode of education from next day onwards. MAIMS can certainly be regarded as a leader in digital education. Actually, it is a reality. We have used COVID-19 as an opportunity. We have increased our activities and initiatives manifold since first round of lockdown of March 2020. Even yesterday, for the first time in the history of MAIMS, in the 18 years journey of MAIMS, we successfully organized research proposal competition for undergraduate students. I think this must be a unique initiative. You must have come across very such competitions which are being held for undergraduate students across India. So today is another great moment for all of us. Why it is a great moment for all of us? Just in 17 days time, this FDP or MDP is being conducted with huge national and international participation. We have got around 350 registration in all, and out of which 110, something like that, are from faculties and research scholars, and remaining are students. So I heartily congratulate conveners Dr. Parul Kumar, Ms. Rachita Agarwal, and Ms. Neha Bhagat for their great initiative in these difficult times. Congratulations to all of you. Just a second. Okay. So a small team of 3 persons, great results and no bluffs. This is how work is done by 2 professionals. So I once again congratulate conveners Dr. Parul Kumar, Ms. Rachita Agarwal, Ms. Neha Bhagat for their dedicated efforts in these difficult times. Should I? Okay. So again, some of these slides I've shared yesterday also, because we have got computational research proposal competition, which I've just told you, that is a milestone which we achieved in the last 18 years, something great. I mean, great initiative by Dr. Shilpi and Dr. Bharti Chaudhary. I mean, that must be sustained year after year. So why research is acquiring increasing importance? We know the common facts of today are the products of yesterday's research. Many times we feel that, okay, bookish knowledge, old knowledge. No, thousands of researchers, they might have worked for hundreds of years, right? So that information is accumulated in the books. So the common facts of today are actually the products of yesterday's research. So as regards India, I mean, I'm a fan of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. The importance of research and innovation was highlighted by the speech delivered by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the former president of India, at the 3rd award function of the National Innovation Foundation in January 2005. जी बताइए. हेलो, हाँ मैं जल्दी कर. So he said that only by unleashing the creative potential of our scientists and innovators at the grassroots level, we can make India truly self-reliant and a leader in sustainable technologies. This I have shared yesterday also. Only teachers and students at Stanford University, by working together on research and innovation, have created 40,000 new companies and generated 5.4 million jobs since 1930. So these businesses generated an added value of $2.7 trillion. That is more than the size of the Mexican economy. So this is the scope of contribution of the research. In fact, research and innovation, it can create growth in 4 ways. One is indigenous creation of new industry. That means you can create entirely new industry. Exogenous creation of new industry. That means you can import new industry to the region. Diversification of existing industry into the new areas. That means you can use the core technologies of an existing and declining industry. Then upgrading existing and mature industry. That means you can enhance product, services, or production technologies also. So these are the advantages. Yeah. Yes, center. Okay, so this I've taken from the, Western countries, America, Europe, Japan, they realize the importance of the research. So this I've taken from the website of Stanford University. It says from Nobel Prize winners to undergraduates, all members of the Stanford community are engaged in creating knowledge. And they say Stanford's culture of collaboration drives innovation discoveries in areas vital to our world, our health and our intellectual right. They say ours is a research enterprise. And in fact, budget of Stanford University on research runs into billions of dollars. Such is the budget. Okay, next. So we know research holds the key to the progress of business, nation, and humanity at large. So I'm sure that this research congress will go a long way in encouraging participants to pursue sound and successful research and contribute significantly to the progress of business, nation, and humanity as well. So I once again heartily congratulate conveners Dr. Parul Kumar, Ms. Rachita Agarwal, and Ms. Neha Bhagat for their great initiative in these difficult times. And my special congratulations to Dr. Parul Kumar, team leader and program convener. Last one. So something I would like to communicate to the audience, that is, we are a little bit adamant about certification. You must attend all the sessions, must submit all feedback assessment forms on daily basis. Last one. So with best wishes for happy and continuous learning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for those enlightening words. With this, I feel honored to introduce our respected professor, Dr. Ravikumar Gupta. Professor Ravikumar Gupta has experience of over 25 years, including teaching and administrative assignments. He has keen interest in academics and research activities. He has guided research to 15 MPhil and 4 PhD research scholars, and 6 more are presently registered with him in various other universities. He has published over 90 papers in journals of national and international repute and has edited 6 books in the areas of management and commerce. He has participated in more than 150 national and international conferences, seminars, workshops, FDPs, etc., in which he has chaired many technical sessions and delivered keynote addresses. I would like to invite Professor Dr. Ravikumar Gupta to the inaugural address.
Thank you. A very happy good afternoon to all. My previous speakers, Dr. Parul Kumar, has already given welcome address, and Professor V.K. Khurana has delivered the theme address about this workshop, our FTP. I also take this humble opportunity again to welcome and to convey my heartiest thanks to first of all to our chief guest and resource person of the day, Professor Aminul Islam. Welcome you, sir, and convey my heartiest thanks to be a part of this our academic endeavor of our institute, Maharaj Agarsain Institute of Language Studies. Just for the information for all the participants and our chief guest, our institute is Maharaj Agarsain Institute of Language Studies. And we have a campus in Sector 22 Rohini in New Delhi, India. It's a around 9-acre campus in which we have this our institute along with another one engineering college. We have one school also under the same trust and one private university in Himachal Pradesh, India. In nutshell, we claim that our trust, our parent body, Maharaj Agarsen Technical Education Society, provide the education to the nationals of India right from nursery to PhD. And we have a enrollment of around 10,000 students in our all 4 institutions, 2 colleges, 1 school and 1 university taken together. And more than 1,000 families, faculty and staff are associated with all of us in these 4 institutions, 2 colleges, 1 school and the university. And we certainly boost off this statement that we both colleges of engineering college, that's called MATE, and our institute, we claim that we are the most preferred choice by the students who get the admission in Delhi, all the colleges which are affiliated to the Guru Gobind Singh Indraprasth University, New Delhi, India. And we are committed always to provide the better education and also for the holistic development of our students. We always striving and committed to provide the various type of activities like this workshop also for the enrichment of faculty, staff, and also for the students. And for that, you, our chief guest, Professor Aminul Islam, I'm very happy that you are contributing in that our assignment in our academic endeavor. So I again welcome you and convey my thanks. I also take this opportunity to thank our dignitaries, Professor S Kiger, Director General Names, Professor GP Goel, all my colleagues, the participants of various institutes, dear students, and all in one. Ladies and gentlemen, convey my thanks to one and all.
Thank you, sir, for motivating us. And now, it deem it a great privilege to have with us the revered Professor G.P. Goel, Advisor, MATES. Professor Goel served as Dean, Maharaja Agarsen University, Baddi, Himachal Pradesh, Director, Northern Indian Engineering College, Delhi, presently ADGITM, and also a Director, Ideal Institute of Technology, Ghaziabad. Professor Goel has 46 years of experience in teaching, research, and industry. He has published about 25 research papers and research reports, guided PhD students, and has applied for 3 patents. He is also a member of National Board of Accreditation, NBA, and Margdarshak, AICTE. I request you, sir, to please address the audience.
Good afternoon to all. Thanks, Ms. Yamni, for your introduction. Respected Professor S Kiger, Director General MATES, Professor Ravi Gupta, Director MATES, Professor Rajni Dhingra Malhotra, Principal, Dean, HODs, resource persons from India and abroad, alumnus Mr. Jeffy Gill, Project Manager Nielsen, faculty members and participants from India and abroad. I feel honored to be part of inaugural session of Research Congress 2021 conducted by Department of Business Studies under the aegis of IQAC and MACS in association with Think Quest Club. Sir, Swami Vivekananda ji quoted that education is not the amount of information that is put into your brain and run right there and digested all your life. We must have life building, man making, character making, and assimilation of ideas. We want that education by which character is being formed, the strength of mind is increased, the intellect is expanded, and by which one can stand on one's own feet. India is a nation with rich intellectual heritage. Teachers are the future builders for any country. They prepare the students for challenging life, provides literacy and wisdom. They are their friend, philosopher, mentor, guide. And so teachers need to be trained. Until the teacher fraternity is being trained, they cannot communicate to the students, they cannot communicate to their fellow beings, and like we cannot have the quality. So my utmost feeling is that teachers need to be trained, and under that scheme, this program has been arranged. Education has two basic features. First is the responsive action to the changing needs of the society and its structure. Secondly, it is an endeavor designed to stimulate individuals according to their propensities. It chisels the life pattern, logical reasoning, attitude, and views of living, and has cascading effect on society. Because what we are looking for at large, the society should be helped. There should be a gain by the society, and we should do something which is useful to the society. Our eminent scholar, visionary, and ex-president, Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, stated, the teacher's place in society is of vital importance. He acts as a pivot for the transmission of intellectual traditions and technical skills from generation to generation, and helps to keep the lamp of civilization burning. Now, teacher's role has shifted from educator to facilitator. So, to help our future generation to develop, grow, and sustain in the era of education 4.0, the teaching workforce need to hop from lecture-based teaching to innovation, creation of teaching learning environment, and research. So, need the hour is that the faculty to be oriented towards research, as India lacks in research, and our position is 48th in the list of top 50 in the countries. It will help to make India as Atmanirbhar Bharat, where this 5-day research congress will play a vital role. It will be good as faculty will be interacting with the international dignitaries also. The topic selected for research congress is very apt in today's scenario. They are as essentials of research, research methodology, publication of research, leveraging LinkedIn, and promotion of research, and will help faculty to understand more about research in depth. The lecture on leveraging India by Ms. Jinal Shah will help the faculty to showcase their research on LinkedIn as well. In my opinion, research should be applicable, it should be application based, and should be useful for society. It should not remain in books only, and the quality of research, I presume, is the one which can generate funds. So, in the end, I would like that the deliberation will be useful for participants, and would like to thank the management committee members, resource persons, participants from India and abroad, and the resource persons from India and abroad, and organizers for organizing this research congress, which will be useful to all. Thank you. Thanks a lot. God bless you.
Thank you, sir, for motivating us and sharing an insightful information.
Thank you, sir.
In addition to this, it's an esteem to have Professor Dr. S. Kiger, Director General, MAIMS. Dr. S. Kiger joined MAIMS as Director General in August 2019 after retirement from Deen Dayal Upadhyay College of Delhi University, where he served as principal for more than 20 years. In 42 years of his teaching career, he has been a member of numerous committees of DU, UGC, and MHRD, including the National Knowledge Commission's work group, which designed the choice-based credit system in 2014. Sir has 16 research publications and many awards to his credit, including the Ambassador for Peace Award of International Federation for World Peace. Now, I request Sir to please unmute himself and address the audience.
Thank you very much. Sir Mohammed Aminul Islam, chief guest for today's inaugural function, Professor Dilip Kumar, Dr. Manish Gupta, Ms. Jinal Shah, Dr. Parul Kumar, convener of this Research Congress, my colleagues in the faculty and dear students, and the participants to this Research Congress. A wonderful presentation has already been made by Professor Khurana and Professor Goel, and Professor Ravi Gupta has already given an introduction about our institution. I don't think I have much to add. I'll just crisply say two things. One, that the universities have two roles. One is dissemination of existing knowledge, and the second is creation of new knowledge. So far as dissemination of existing knowledge is concerned, as was pointed out very well by Professor Goel, there has been a shift in the teaching learning process. And the shift is that now, instead of solely depending upon the chalk and talk method of teaching learning, we have now a large number of options, which includes the learning online. And this more than a year period of this pandemic has established it beyond doubt that teaching learning can take place online also. It is not necessary to remain confined to the classroom only. So the teaching learning process has now, there is a paradigm shift in it. What is needed, and more so for our Indian students, is the creation of new knowledge. And that occurs through research. And that's the reason that our club has decided to focus on research programs, how to organize research, what are the essentials of research, and all these areas shall be taken up during the next 5 days in covering research methodology, etc., in this research congress. So I'm sure our students and our faculty members will be immensely benefited from this congress. And the faculty needs to attune itself towards training the students to get research oriented. And when you get research oriented, you have to focus on the problems which are existing in your own society, in your own neighborhood, in your own country, and try to solve them through research. So with these words, I thank the organizers and wish this Congress a grand success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your blessings.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
Thank you, sir. I hope the students will definitely work on that. Now, it's my immense pleasure for us to introduce you all to our mains alumnus of BBA 2010 to 2013 batch, Mr. Jeffy, Project Manager at Nielsen. He is presently working as Project Manager at Nielsen. His present work profile revolves around working on process improvement projects and migration of data collection platforms. He has an experience of more than 5 years. He has earlier worked with Marico, Google, Pepsi, Nestle, Unilever, and RB Pernod Ricard. I would like to invite Mr. Jeffy to address the gathering.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon all. I hope I'm audible. Well, firstly, I'd like to thank the college and the senior faculty, the senior most faculties whom I have got a chance to listen to and got a chance to interact to. And thank you all for giving me this opportunity. And for me, it's a great honor to interact with one of the top-notch faculties of this industry, sharing the same platform with them. Honestly, when I started my BBA program, I never ever thought that I would be getting this chance to interact with my college again and share the same platform. And I'm actually feeling honored to do that. So first of all, thanks a lot for giving this opportunity. And so after hearing a lot many speakers over here, and I could see that we have a good resource panel over here who will be sharing a lot of insights about how the research works and how are the things done. So I will primarily limit my talk more of a practical aspect to the what research is, especially from a corporate point of view. Because honestly, when I joined Nielsen, I came from a altogether different background. So coming from a non-research background to a research company was a big challenge for me. And at that point of time, I realized that all that I was taught during my graduation, in the subject called as research methodologies and other similar subjects, which I had learned during the course of my education period, those actually founded a very good foundation for me, because all that is being done in the corporate sphere is mainly the practical application of what you learn right now. So probably, if you're reading a topic like, say, regression or correlation, right now you will be feeling that that doesn't make any sense, because when I was at your seat, I also used to think the same. But now, after having worked in this environment, I could see that how that foundation that was set up for me is actually working, right? So, and one more thing which I like to tell you over here is that at the time when I was there in the BBA program, the subjects that were taught to us were not too in-depth if you talk about research as such. But now when I was going through the college website and I had a chance to interact with your faculties, and I got a chance to also know that what all subjects and what all topics are being covered now, which were not being covered then that is something actually which we use on a daily basis. So if you talk about, capturing the data, doing the sampling, choosing the starting points, doing any kind of analysis, using a SAT test, using a X model, using any data modulation, analytics, all the foundation of that is based on what you have been teaching right now and what the students have been learning. So my only advice to this panel, or rather to these students, will be that you have a great set of faculties over here. The syllabus that you're going to go through is going to be very rigorous. That will be setting your core base foundation. You need that. If you're really interested in research, go through that, read that as your Bible, because that's going to help you in your future corporate careers. And plus, you have this immense panel who has, have put a lot of years of effort in building research, fine-tuning their skills and sharing their knowledge. So please take the maximum advantage which you can. And of course, once you get through this course, the practical aspect of it, once you are in the corporate, you will be trained well. And that training will also be supported by the learning which you're getting right now. So this learning is quite important. The panel is quite good. And always just remember one golden rule in research, that is, it is not rocket science, first of all. You must be hearing a lot of terms, jargons. So it is just those terms. And research basically involves logic. If your logic is right, you have the sense of right direction, you know what you want, you know where to go, then research will be very easy for you. It's all based on logic. So that's all from my side. And thank you once again for giving me the opportunity to interact with your team. It really refreshes my memory of the college days. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you. It's right said that research is not a rocket science. It requires insight and logic. Thank you so much, sir, for motivating us. With further ado, let me introduce the topic for our first session, Essentials of Research. Before we introduce our speaker of the session, I request all the attendees to keep themselves on mute throughout the session. All your queries will be answered in the end. At the end of the event, a feedback cum assessment form will be circulated in the chat box. It is mandatory for you all to kindly fill the form for the assessment. Malcolm Forbes says the best vision is insight. Insight is a powerful tool for conducting research which shapes the perspective towards the same. With this wonderful thought, we feel honored to introduce the speaker of the session, Professor Dr. Muhammad Aminul Islam, Professor at the Faculty of Applied and Human Sciences, University Malaysia, Perlis. He is currently working as a professor in the Faculty of Applied and Human Sciences at University Malaysia, Perlis. He received his bachelor's degree from the International Islamic University Malaysia, MBA and Doctor of Philosophy from University Sains Malaysia. An award-winning academic and researcher, Professor Islam received the Raffles Education Founders Award for being the most serving academic staff of Olympia College Malaysia 2006, Excellent Academic Support Award 2009, the Best Lecturer Award in 2010, the Best 2018 and 2019, and Research Excellence Award in 2020 at University Malaysia, Perlis. He has authored and co-authored 3 books, 2 book chapters, and about 200 research papers. We welcome you, sir, and I request you to please start the session.
All right. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum to my Muslim friend, and namaskar and adab to my other friends in India. It always gives me a special feeling. I know when I get invited from India, it's my neighboring country. I'm originally from Bangladesh, even though I have been living in Malaysia for about 26 years. And when Dr. Parul has invited me through an email, I didn't take very long time to respond, even though I was not feeling like I should be accepting it, as my schedule is quite packed. And so thank you very much. First of all, let me read out, right? The Maharaja Agrasen Institute of Management Studies, and especially Dr. Parul Kumar for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to share some of my ideas and thoughts on research essentials. There are so many dignitaries and great professors around. I seek forgiveness for not being able to mention all of your names. As I did not keep any pain with me, I should have written your name so that I could have pronounced it now. Please forgive me for that. So thank you very much for inviting me, and it's a great honor for me to be here with you today at the inaugural session. So without further ado, let me start the session. I would go straight to the session. And also I'd like to mention this. Actually, I have not been feeling very well. If you look at my face, you know, last 2 weeks, I have not been feeling very well. But I did not like to cancel the program. So I told my wife, it's all right. I'll just continue and go ahead with the program. So you have to bear with me. So let me share the screen. Give me a few minutes, a few seconds, possibly. Can you see my slide?
Yes,
Can, right?
sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So when the topic was given to me, when I look at the topic is so broad and comprehensive. I was thinking, how should I shape my presentation? Later, I thought I make it like something very comprehensive, not going very deep, but yet giving a very good picture of what we call research. All right. As I was introduced, I have been in Malaysia for about 26 years and working with University of Malaysia Perlis for about 12 years now. And I have been conducting a lot of webinars. I think Dr. Parul must have seen some of them. Almost every month, I have 3 or 4 webinars where I present my ideas and thoughts. And I do have also my own YouTube channel on research method, platform for research and development. I think about 70 videos are there. So it's very useful for PhD students. If you like to, you can always go and watch the videos that I have uploaded there. All right, let me start with very brief or very basic, from the very basic. When you talk about...
Professor, can you please make it a slideshow?
Sure.
Thank you.
All right. So when you talk about research, I will always tell my students, when you look at the term itself, research, searching again. Millions of people are undertaking research worldwide. Even if you look at India itself, hundreds and thousands of papers are published every year. And yet we have been doing research because things are changing too much and too fast. So even experts are having difficulty coping with the changes now. The fourth industrial revolution, and it's coupled with the COVID-19, the pandemic situation, things are even become more, unpredictable. So research, in a bookish definition, we say research is an organized, objective, and systematic process to study a particular problem that needs a solution. So that's what I put it in the red mark. Research is only undertaken when a problem is identified and defined. All right. Many times when we see students coming and approaching us that they would like to pursue PhD with us, we'll ask the students, what do you like to do? And they will be telling us some, kind of ideas that they feel that they would like to undertake their PhDs on. And then we'll ask them, what was the problem? And they will start, struggling to answer that question. So when we take up a research project, there must be an identified and defined problem in hand. So at the end of the research, I would like to see the solution to the problem. All right. And I always give example of like when you watch a Bollywood movie, at the beginning, the plot is created, right? Almost all movies. So if you are interested, you feel interested, and you feel like it's going to be exciting to watch this movie, you will continue to watch the movie. And then it is dramatized in a way, the plot after plot, and dramatized in a way, the director keeps you with the movie, and you keep watching until the end. So at the end, you would like to see the plot being created at the beginning, whether the answers are there or not, all right? And that makes you cry or you laugh at the end of watching the movie, all right? So in the research is like that. I always say that research is basically telling and selling a story. Telling and selling a story. The story is the research problem. So if your identification and definition of research problem is not correct, then at the end, you cannot sell your story, all right? Meaning your paper, you cannot write paper and publish in good journals. That's what we aim for doing research, all right? Now, there are other many ways of looking into the definition of research. There are many definitions. I'm very sure most of you are very familiar with. But the definition that I love is I always compare research with a journey. So when we start traveling, basically, we do not simply just wake up in the morning, get up on the bed, and we dress up, and we just go to the car and start driving, right? That's not a journey. So when we plan for a journey, there are many things that we look into, right? So first of all, where are you going? Right, the destination we think of. Why are you going? But when you say where are you going, then it also tells you how long it might take and many other things, Why? There must be a reason. So for going there, what for, right? What are you going to get at the end of it? And how are you going to go? All right. So when you are traveling, the number of modes could be available. All right. You may fly, you may travel by train, you may travel by bus. You can drive yourself, you can ride a bike, you can even walk if it is a short distance one. So there are many ways of going to the destination. But the problem that you have in mind, that will determine what kind of method that you are going to choose, right? And who are you going to contact, in the destination to get something on. So when you do research, research is like a journey. You cannot simply just start a research just like that, So you have to have a plan. What would you like to do? And that's what I say the destination is a finding solution to a problem. Identification and definition of problem become very important, all right? So that's where we start first. And when we start the research, like traveling, we prepare the luggage and baggage. So if it's for long term, luggage could be used. In the short term, luggage could be smaller. And we also plan what are the things that is needed during the travel or once we reach the destination. All right, so we plan and pack the luggage like that. Research is like that. You have to prepare yourself before you undertake a research. For example, like brushing up your English language. We know that most of the papers now are written in English language. The books are also written in English. So our English language proficiency got to be good so that it become easier in our research journey, okay? And then after that, there are many different methods available, okay? Many designs available, different research approaches are available, different research philosophies are available, all right? And when you collect data, there are many different kind of data collection methods available, all right? So these all are dependent. These all are dependent on the kind of research problem being identified and defined, okay? So research, I take it as a journey, all right? So when you are on a journey in traveling, either you are going by bus or train, whatever, you see many things, but your focus is always what are you going to, get from this journey. So that when you conduct your research, we do many things, those of us academic staff, we do, teaching, supervising, writing papers, and many things that we do beside attending meetings, going to conferences and all that. Yet research is something that is the most warranted things that we expect from an academic now, okay? Now, the component of empirical research. Research starts with the research problem, as I mentioned earlier, and then we will translate research problem into research questions, research objectives. And then we'll continue to do literature review, whereby we'll identify underpinning theories, some assumptions, variables. And then from there, we'll construct the theoretical framework, we construct hypotheses, we'll go for operation definition, instrumentation, we choose a research design, research methodology, then we go for sampling, we collect the data, we analyze the data, then we interpret and we conclude. So these are the pillars of research, and sometimes I call it as nuts and bolts of research. Some of these elements are bolts, some of these elements are nuts. When you glue them together, it becomes a machine, it becomes a complete research. That's what it is, okay? So I am going to try to cover every of these areas in this today's session. And I have a different way of presenting my ideas. Some of you may not agree with mine, but that's what we expect, right? We try to preach something new, and then we debate on it, we argue, we discuss, we review, and somewhere we come out with something new, right? That's what earlier many of few professors talking about research, innovation, creativity, all that comes together, okay? Now, this is something that I came out with. So far, no one has tried to tell me that this is something wrong, but I see many great professors with me now at this session. I would expect some kind of feedback from me, hopefully. All right. I compare research with a tree. I compare research with a tree. It's a tree analogy. A tree, the most important part of a tree are the roots of the tree. If the roots are they strong, then it can hold a very big tree, large tree, okay? And even a smaller tree, but with a lot of fruits, you need the roots to be stronger, okay? So if something is wrong with the roots, the whole tree will suffer. You will see the leaves are getting discolored. The fruits may not be the way you want, all right? So research problem is like the roots of the tree. So research starts with research problem, that is the root. If you fail to identify and define research problem correctly, then the whole research process, doesn't matter how best the research process are chosen, or how best the way you conduct your research is bound to fail. You are not going to achieve the kind of research output or outcome you'd like to achieve. So the identification and definition, I insist on it, is the most important part for a research, okay? Now, then I compare the body of a tree, as theoretical framework, all right? That whole, basically, the whole tree and after the roots. So if there's a strong wind, then if your body is strong, the tree body is strong and root is strong, the tree is going to survive. Even if a tree root is very strong, but the body is weak, a weak storm can make it fall. So theoretical framework or conceptual framework, I compare it with the body of the tree. And the branches of the tree, I compare this with underpinning theories. All research should be guided. Academic research are guided by theories. Some are underpinning theories, some are supporting theories. The dominant theory that support our theoretical framework, we call them as underpinning theory. And other theories that may help. Because certain theory, certain research can be underpinned by one theory only. But there are many research now we undertake, we integrate theories. So you have the dominant theory as underpinning theory, and you have few supporting theories there. The branches of trees are also important, right? The branches of the tree are the one that will hold the fruits, okay? So you need stronger branches also. So those are the theories that will, combine and hold the outputs of the tree. The leaves of a tree actually beautifies, that whether a tree looks beautiful or not, it depends on the kind of leaves you have, okay? So in a research, literature review, even though it is all about people's work, but that beautify your research. Looking at literature review, reviewing literature review, guide us to find out the kind of theories can be used, kind of research methodology even, can be determined by literature review. It also helps us, to find out the kind of research trend over certain times, okay? So if a tree is having a problem, it can be immediately noticed by looking at the leaves. So how strong your literature review is actually will tell you how good your research is going to be, how connected your research is going to be with the research problem, okay? So literature review also very, very crucial and very important. And we look at the fruits, these are the outcomes of the research, your contribution. When you finish your research and you like to write papers and publish it, then definitely the editors will look at what are the new things you are going to introduce. For PhD student in the Viva session, we'll always ask the student, what is new? What is the new knowledge contribution? And the students will always struggle to show something new because millions of research undertaken in the worldwide, right? So fruits, when you look at in a tree, if you plant a tree and gives you the similar fruit in another tree, then you are not contributing anything new. So your fruits got to be bigger, or it can be more tastier, or it may give you more fruits in a tree, larger amount compared to the other trees. So that's what it is. And that answers the question of, replicating research, doing research again and again. Because the more research you want to do because you want to contribute something new. So contributing something new doesn't mean that we want you to show orange in an apple tree. It's not. We want to show us apple in the apple tree, but the apple size could be bigger. It could be more tastier. The amount could be more, So that's what we look at. So that's the outcome of research I compare with the fruits. And when data quality, data collection, or robustness of analysis, I compare it again on the quality of the soil. What kind of, the kind of fruits you are going to get, the kind of tree you are going to watch. It is dependent on the quality of the soil, fertilizers, watering on the plant and all that. So collection of data. So your data got to be collected from the roots of the problem. That's what I mean. So a tree suffers when the root is having problems. So soil problem, fertilizer problem, water problem, the root, the tree will suffer. So your research problem, you got to identify where the root of the problem is, and your data collection has to be from there, all right? So I think I have to stop here because this one, if I talk, I can talk longer time, but I would like to talk on many other things. So let me leave it here, and during the question answers, I am available. I'll be available to answer any queries on it. Now, categories of research. There are many categories of research there, but we can broadly categorize into three: qualitative research, quantitative research, and then we have mixed methods, okay? Qualitative research, basically, we try to understand human behavior and the reasons that govern such behavior. The quantitative research is something we empirically investigate quantitative properties, so it all comes with numerical data, okay? That's quantitative. It doesn't matter whether primary or secondary data will make it numerical, right? So that's quantitative. So we use PLS, SPSS, and AMOS, and many other methods Qualitative data also now can be tested. We can use NVivo, Atlas T, and many other softwares available. But now, understanding the backdrops of both weaknesses and limitations of qualitative and quantitative research, now we advocates and recommend that some kind of mixture should be there. If you are, for example, like me, I'm a quantitative person, so I'm well versed on SPSS and PLS. I do conduct workshops on those softwares. But even I see when we do quantitative research, there are many limitations are there, right? There is a boundary, we cannot cross that. So based on the theoretical framework, we construct hypotheses, we collect the data, we cannot go beyond that. So the findings we have based on the data we get. All right, so to verify it, to validate it, we propose that some kind of qualitative research should be undertaken after quantitative. Or even we can do qualitative first and then quantitative, and then after qualitative, quantitative, some kind of mixture. We'd like to speak for my students now. Right? So that's what we call triangulation, merging the qualitative and quantitative. It could be quantitative pieces qualitative, or qualitative pieces quantitative. It could be even qualitative, quantitative, and then qualitative, and many different ways of mixing the qualitative and quantitative approaches. All right. So these are the two approaches. So basically, research starts with qualitative. Later, when I talk about research approaches, we will be understanding more, inshallah. Okay. Research starts with qualitative. Qualitative starts from zero. When there's no theory available, not much of a study being done. We can still do research on a research problem using qualitative study. By in-depth interview, focus group discussion, positive techniques, there are many techniques available. So from qualitative study, what you do, we propose hypotheses. We do not test hypotheses. We propose hypotheses. So in a qualitative study, we call it proposition. We do not call it hypothesis. So when those propositions come to quantitative study, we will call them hypotheses, and we'll test it with the numerical data. All right. And then once we have the findings, then we'll continue to proceed to do a few more groundbreaking research. Those will be qualitative again. So we started qualitative, become quantitative, then qualitative, and that continues. Okay. So that's how the research world is. Now, research philosophy, let me talk about it. Those of us have done PhDs, we know PhD is Doctor of Philosophy. Doctor of Philosophy, yeah? For example, like my PhD is in finance. We don't call it Doctor of Finance or Doctor of Management or Doctor of Marketing. We call it Doctor of Philosophy. So any research we do, there must be philosophical foundation of research. When I read research in Asia, I find this is the weakness of our research. Most of our research, we don't have a strong philosophical foundation. When I read PhDs, this is from Australian universities. That's where they are a bit different. I always feel, very happy to read the thesis from Macquarie, University of Australia, when they sent to me. They have very strong philosophical foundation of every research they do. All right. So let me touch a bit on what do we mean by research philosophy. Okay. Sometimes we do call it also research paradigm. Okay, so to make it clear. Now, a research paradigm is the set of common belief, right? Set of common beliefs and agreements among the scientists. Okay, among the scientists, and it is all about how a problem should be understood and addressed. That's what Cohen, 1970, mentioned, that research paradigm is about how problems should be understood and addressed. So as I said from the beginning, that a good research is completely dependent on identification and definition of a research problem. So research paradigm of philosophy is a worldview about conducting research, and it provides researchers some kind of idea of choosing the right kind of research design, research approaches, research methods, and all that. So when you talk about research paradigm, we'll broadly categorize into two. The first one, we call it ontology. Ontology, basically what we do, we try to see what is the truth, whether there is a truth in it. Okay, and then again, we divide ontology into two. There are two groups of ontologies available. The first group, we call it realist ontology, where they believe that there is a single truth in something, all right, and it is independent of human existence. But relativists, ontologists, they believe that there could be more than one truth. Okay, there could be more than one truth. So it determines, that it depends on if you take the approach of realist ontology, your answer is going to be one, So it's hypothesis testing. You just accept or reject. But if you are going for relativist ontology approach, then you are looking for more than one truth. So it may not be testing hypothesis, it may not be qualitative, it may not be quantitative, it may be qualitative. So this philosophy will guide you, research philosophy will guide you from the beginning, the kind of research approach you have to be taking. Then the other word we always use in research philosophy is epistemology. Epistemology, the word comes from episteme, which means knowledge. Okay, so here basically we describe how to know something. So we are talking about ontology, about the truth, whether there's a single truth or more than one truth. But here we are going to know how to know the truth, the reality, whether the truth really exists. So the knowing that the truth exists. So knowledge is the nature and form, and we look at how it can be acquired, communicated with the human beings, right? So the ontology focuses on the nature of human knowledge and, try to comprehend the researchers can possibly acquire and be able to the extent, the understanding of field of research. So in a ontology, we're looking at whether the truth exists or not, and whether there are more truth or not, more than one truth or not. But in epistemology, we're trying to understand how the truth exists, the reality exists. This is a very simple diagram that shows us a very, very good one, actually. It speaks a lot. Okay, that's better. So ontology is what is reality. Epistemology is what and how can I know the reality. The theoretical perspective is we are looking at what approach can we use to get the knowledge. Methodology, what procedure can we use to acquire knowledge. Methods, what the tools can we use to acquire knowledge. And the sources would be the data collection. So if you look at it, this all are connected to each other. So you start with ontology and proceed to epistemology, then theory, then the methodology, and it continues. All right. So that's what we call a philosophical foundation of a research. We start with what is reality, what is the problem now, what is there and what is not there. So that's where we look at a literature gap, we look at research gap, and many different terms that we use to see what is the reality, what exists and what doesn't exist, so that we can come out with something new knowledge in the area that we do research. Okay. All right. Somehow this, okay. So the researchers, we see there are three different kind of views are there when it comes to research philosophy, right? Positivists, constructivists, and pragmatists. But again, I will later categorize into two to understand it better. So positivists, as we say, that believe that there is a single reality which can be measured and known, all right? So if single reality, you are accepting or rejecting a hypothesis, so it is quantitative method. Constructivists believe that there's no single reality, so there are more than one. So you are looking at propositions. So it's going to be qualitative study. And pragmatists, they do not believe either single or more than a single truth exists. They believe that reality constantly changes, all right? So it can be debated, interpreted, and based on the debate and interpretation, we decide which kind of method to be used, Positivists will straightforward tell you it should be quantitative. Constructivists tell you it is qualitative. But pragmatists will not tell you whether it's quantitative or qualitative approach to be taken. So it's open. So we review, we debate, we interpret, we discuss, and finally analyze, and we finally decide which method would be the best method to solve the research problem in hand. Now this one, there's another table also. Somehow, okay, let me, this one somehow disturbing my slide. It's all right. So this is a very simple table, positivists and interpretivists, right? Or positivism and interpretivism. Positivism, we divide into two again, positivism and post-positivism. And we are talking about whether there's a single truth or there are more than one truth, right? So here you are talking about dualism in positivism. Research and researcher, we are looking at that connection, right? So we replicate research from earlier work and we explain. So it's quantitative research because you are talking about objective reality, right? Post-positivism, the group, they believe that there's a critical realism. Reality is imperfectly apprehensible. So you are talking about replicating findings are probably true. So you are going to be conducting experimental research and definitely is quantitative. Interpretivism-oriented research is more on looking at subject and objective, subject and object. So knowledge can be interpreted or knowledge can be constructed. So here you are talking about qualitative research, okay? So when you are going for positivism, it's more on quantitative, and when you are going for interpretivism or constructivism, it's more on qualitative kind of research that you undertake, all right? So when you are conducting a research at the beginning, looking at the research problem, then we got to look at which research philosophy we'd like to adopt. Now, let me move into research approaches. And here also I have a very different way of explaining. I hope you will get into the topic, all right? The first approach, we call it deductive. As the term itself, deductive, meaning that something is already there. From there we work, all right? So deductive research starts with theories. And from theory, we develop hypotheses. And then we collect data, and then we accept or reject hypotheses. Now, earlier we look at research philosophy, right? Remember, we look at positivists and interpretivists. So positivists are those we say that it's more on quantitative, the single truth, or all those. So we start with the theory, and then every theory has assumptions. Okay, so we look at the problem and we construct the hypothesis based on the literature and theories. Then we collect data and we accept or reject hypotheses. I put this analogy to understand deductive research more better. I will always give an example, like you are landed in a garden with many beautiful flowers. You may not like all the flowers, even all of them are beautiful. So you will only take the one that you really like. You are not going to take everything. So you pick the one you want, all right? So everything is there, and you pick the one you want. So that is deductive research. Theories are there. We select the appropriate theories. And from theories, we select or choose appropriate variables. Then we collect data, we test hypotheses, and then we finally have accepted or rejected one. So that is deductive approach. While by inductive approach is totally different, it's opposite. Inductive research, as you know, induct, right? So you're inducting. So we observe the phenomenon, we analyze the pattern and themes, we formulate relationship, and then we develop research, develop a theory. So in a deductive research, you start with the theory, but inductive research ends up with the theory, all right? So deductive research is definitely a quantitative research, and inductive research is a qualitative research. We observe phenomena, we end up with theory. And then from that theory, we start the deductive approach, which is quantitative. As earlier I say, right, all research is started qualitative, and then we go to quantitative and come back to qualitative. Same thing here, right, research approaches. So for inductive research also, I do have some analogy for you. For example, like you are landed on a solid soil, there's nothing there. Then you plow the land, you harvest the tree, right? You plant the tree, you harvest it, right? You water it, you fertilize it. At the end, you get the kind of flower you want. That is inductive. So you have a phenomena in place, you have a research identified and defined, and then you work on it, and then finally you come out with a theory, or at least a proposition, few propositions. That is inductive research, that's qualitative research, all right? Now, let me move on to research design. So I started with research philosophy, then research approaches. Now I'm moving into research design, research design. So there are many kinds of research design available for researchers. It can be reporting, research design, so provide a summation of data, all right? So we may have research conducted, we just want to provide some kind of summary of what we get, all right? So it obtains recasting data to achieve deep understanding or generate statistics for comparison. So there are many kind of research. The problem, it all depends on research problem that is identified and defined. If you have identified a research problem where this reporting is enough, then we accept the reporting kind of research design. Now, it can be even descriptive. It depends on the research problem in hand. We may just answer the question of who, what, when, where, and how, that kind of question. So that would be a descriptive research design. We may even adopt a predictive research design, whereby we try to predict the relationship between variables, all right? Now, this is some kind of applied and basic research also, can be explained. So predictive research design, whereby we predict when and what situation the event will occur. So you are predicting what will happen if changes this to this. So you're talking about, relationship of variables and all that. We may also adopt explanatory research design. We say explanatory research design is basically when research is conducted for a problem which was not well researched before. Okay, so now it's going to be more in depth. So it could be qualitative, more. It could be also quantitative, but it's a deeper research understanding of a problem that we have. It can have even exploratory research. So exploratory research is used to investigate a problem which is not clearly defined. Now we are looking at defining research problem itself. This is conducted to have a better understanding of the existing problem and may not provide conclusive results. So when we adopt exploratory research, at the end of the research, it will raise more questions. You solve one question and it raises more questions. That's the outcome of exploratory research. All right. So these are the 5 kind of research design there, and we will choose, depending on the kind of research problem we have, and then there'll be a very good flow and logical sequence. We have research philosophy, we have research approaches, now we have research design. So these all will be interconnected. So your research philosophy will definitely determine what kind of research approach you are going to have, and then what kind of research design you're going to choose. Now, the language of research, there are many terms are there which we come to see always in the papers when you read. Concepts, models, theories, propositions, construct, conceptual scheme, operation, definition, variables, all that. I have more slides on it, so I won't spend any time here. This one I want freshers to understand. Research, you start with the data. And when we ask a student, what do you mean by data? And they struggle to answer the question. Data are basically just the raw facts and figures. Not all data are useful for everyone. So when we screen the data and make it useful, relevant to me, it becomes information. All right. And then with the information, somebody have possession of that information, it becomes knowledge. When we say this person is knowledgeable about it, meaning that he has the possession of that information, so he is knowledgeable. And when we have the ability to apply the knowledge, it becomes technology. Many people have the knowledge, but they don't have the technology, right? There are many countries now producing vaccine for COVID-19. So they have the technology of doing it. Knowledge, many countries, scientists, they have the knowledge how this vaccine is being produced, but they cannot produce it because they don't have the ability to apply the knowledge, okay? So as a researcher, academic, we have to have clear understanding of this. It all starts with the data. And then data are the basically raw facts and figures. And then when we screen it, we scan it, and we make it useful, relevant, then it becomes information. When you have possession of that information, it becomes knowledge. And when that knowledge can be applied, somebody who can apply the knowledge, it becomes technology. Now, this one actually should have been discussed at the beginning, but I purposely put it later because I wanted to start with research philosophy first, okay? If you don't have a research problem, that you got no research to be undertaken. So this should have been discussed before, but again, I put it later for better understanding. What is a research problem? Research problem is a clear expression about an area of concern, a condition to be improved upon, a difficulty to be eliminated. A troubling question exists in the scholarly literature, exists in practice that points a need for meaningful understanding or deliberation, a question that researchers want to answer, or a problem that researchers want to solve. Okay, so there are many different definitions are there. So basically, there's something there which troubles somebody. It troubles the society or industry or the country. So when we walk around, we mingle around with conscious and subconscious mind, we can always see there are certain things there in the society or in the country that troubles the human being, and give us the questions of why is this happening, why it doesn't happen that way, So that kind of problem is there, which can be researchable. So we are saying that research problem is like identification of a destination before undertaking a journey. So without a problem, research cannot proceed because there's nothing to proceed towards. It's like I started with a journey, right? If you like to start up a journey, then you must have a destination, where to go. So to conduct a research, you must have a research problem in hand. So these are the few stages that can be used to identify and define a research problem. First of all, we have to identify the areas of interest. Then we choose a topic. Then we narrow our topic. Then we identify the research problem. And then we identify the purpose for the study. Okay, sorry, I have clicked first. So these are the simple stages or steps to identify and define a research problem. So that's common, right? When you would like to pursue PhD, we will first of all identify an area of interest. So if my interest is finance, then I have to look at whether I have the right background, quantitative background and all that. Many students, especially undergraduate students, come to see me, sir, I want to do research with you, FYP. Finally, a project with you. I say, I'm a finance person. Would you like to do it in finance? Say, yes, I want to do it in finance. I say, no, you don't have a background in finance. You won't be able to do research in finance. So one is personal interest. The other one is our competency and ability, capability, capacity of conducting the research. Okay, so we outline the research, then we choose a topic based on our capacity, capability, ability, and all that, skills, and many other things. Then we'll identify a research problem from that narrow topic, okay? And then finally, from the research problem identified, we'll translate it into a research question, few research questions or few research objectives. So while we are doing this, to identify and define research problem, following stages, we have to look at, both sides. I put certain points in there. Read about your interests. So look at your interests, your future career prospects and all that. Talk to your colleagues, find out what are others doing, what others are doing. Observe your environment, be curious, and always ask questions, be inquisitive. That's one of the most important criteria to be a good researcher. Be inquisitive, always ask questions, keep asking questions. I know that, many times as a parent, when our kids keep asking questions, we get a bit frustrated. We will ask them, don't ask me too many questions. But actually, if a kid is asking questions, we should appreciate and we should encourage them. That makes them inquisitive. Their learning process is start from there. They start learning by questioning. We should not stop kids asking questions. So being a researcher, we got to be inquisitive and we have to keep asking and asking and asking. We have to read and keep asking questions. That's what helps you to become a better researcher, an innovative, creative person, a better researcher. And to make it easy for researchers, I propose this template. It's my own, like tree analogy is my own analogy that I have proposed. And even I have shown you deductive, inductive, tree analogy. Those are also my way of explaining the method. So research problem also, to plot it, I propose this template for students. So when you have the knowledge gap, when you do literature review, we read theories and books and all that. The main problem of research become the dependent variable. So this student has done a research on, that is his title, financial risk, business risks, and firm value, the monitoring role of financial innovation. So looking at it, we know that the dependent variable is firm value. So the main problem is firm value. And that's where students suffer many times. Many students will come out with research and all that, but we cannot identify the problem. We tell them, what is your problem? What is the research problem? And they will always talk about, like, for example, one of my students was doing a study on CSR practices and organization performance. I asked him many times, what's your study about? He said, CSR. I said, no, it's not CSR. It's about organization performance. So dependent variable is the main problem, the theme of your research. So I put it as main problem. And all independent variables and intervening variables that we find all become issue. Issue 1, issue 2, issue 3, those are independent and moderating variables. So you can plot it there in this template. So that will make your life easy. And from there, we construct the theoretical framework, okay? Now, it's like when you are unhealthy, you are not feeling well. When you go to see the doctor, doctor will start questioning, okay? So the main problem is that I'm not feeling well. I'm not feeling well. That is the main problem. So what are the issues? I have cough, I have runny nose, I have diarrhea, I have body ache. All those are the issues. Those issues are independent. They are not connected, right? But my health is connected, dependent on it. So dependent variable is the main variable. The theme of research, the main problem, and the issues, all issues become independent variables. And then one of the weaknesses that we find with our students most of the time is they are always good in plotting the knowledge gap and all that, but they don't have the backup from the industry. That is the main criticism from the industry about the research that we undertake. Industry people, they criticize the way we conduct research. They say, basically, they do not find any application in the industry, okay? So our research, when we do, it must have some kind of application to the industry. And that's the reason the academic research exists. So when we do research, when we identify the knowledge issues, then we have to back it up with industrial data. Okay, like this student has backed it up with industrial data. He's talking about poor management of risks, and he has issues like high non-performing loans, weak liquidity, and so on. So if you are doing a research, say, for example, on organization performance, and you find theories and literature gaps and all, that is good. But then you need to have some kind of data from the industry. Is there really a problem with organization performance? So that's what we are looking at. So some statistical data got to be incorporated, okay, with the knowledge gap that we identified. This is very important. So if you put it together like this, the way I have proposed the plots, I will make your life easy to construct your theoretical framework later. Now, once you have the research problem, now immediately we start doing literature review, right? So there are many different ways of doing literature review, but the systematic literature review, this is what is very popular now. It's a very systematic and very objective way of doing it. This is what Saunders has proposed, right? When you have transformed research problem into research question or research objectives, from there you define parameters. Parameters are the variables, right? Dependent, independent variables. So those become your key terms. We conduct search, we obtain literature, we evaluate them, we record them, and then we start drafting the review, okay? And then we redefine the parameter, we generate and redefine the keywords, you conduct research, obtain literature, evaluate, record, and update the drafting, and it continues and continues. The more paper you read, the more refinement will be done, and finally, you reach a point you know that you already got hold of the area. You know what is happening, what kind of theories are there, what kind of studies have been undertaken, what kind of methodology can be adopted, what kind of research approaches can be taken, which kind of research design should be adopted, all can be adopted looking at the, understood, looking at the previous research is being done. So how should you be writing a research problem? Huh? So this is how I put it. Sorry, let me, okay, how should you organize your literature review? So literature review should start with dependent variable, and then followed by independent variable, and then your intervening variables and all that. At the end, there should be an excellent summary showing the research gap available, right? But again, when you do it, we have to make sure we ensure good flow and logical sequence in our deliberation. All right. There are many different approaches of outlining literature review, but this is what I love most. There are 4 approaches basically. It's to start with thematic. Your literature can be described in a thematic way. You start with the theme. That's what I said. You start with dependent variable, then independent variable, and so on. But then together with thematic, it can be combined with chronological. So you start with like 1970s, 80s, and 1990s, and 2000, and now. So you start with thematic, but blended with chronological. Sometimes it can be blended with the methodological. It can be even blended with theoretical. So when you outline our literature review, it should start with thematic, with the themes. And I'm saying it should be like dependent variable, the main problem. And then the issues, independent variable, moderating variable, mediating variable, control variable, what's not. So we start with thematic and we combine it with chronological. Some research we combine again with another theoretical, or some research we have very important methodological aspects. So we combine it with methodological. So thematic, chronological, theoretical, or thematic, chronological, methodological. These approaches can be taken to underline the literature review, outline the literature review, the way your literature review got to be described. Now, once we do the literature review, then we should be able to identify the underpinning or supporting theories. And from there, we should be able to identify the right kind of variables, and then we develop theoretical framework. Let me quickly go through that. When you talk about theories, theories start with ideas, okay? And then not all ideas are good. Not all ideas are measurable. Not all ideas can be conceptualized, so all that. So ideas can be visualized, symbolized, so it become a concept. So ideas could be stupid ideas because people cannot really understand it. And we may even sometimes cannot understand it. So when you make it like something understandable, can symbolize it in certain way, then it becomes concept. And when it can be measured, it becomes construct, okay? So when a concept is measurable, it becomes construct. It's like variables, okay? And then from construct, we propose hypothesis, the propositions, okay? The relationship between constructs. And when propositions are tested and proved, it becomes theory. So these are the building blocks of theories. You start with idea, and then concept, construct, proposition, and then become theories, okay? So this one you have to keep in mind, because whenever you do research, the philosophical underpinning is one, but the most important is theoretical underpinning is a quantitative research. It's a qualitative one. We may not have a theory, but again, we may have used to adopt the grounded theory approach. There's something else which I cannot really get into it today, right? I have some other topics to look at. Now, types of variable in research, quantitative research, you have dependent variable, which is dependent on other variables, and then independent variables are the issues that contribute to the dependent variable. And in between dependent, independent, we call it intervening variable. Those are moderating or mediating variable, right? Moderating variable basically increase or decrease the effect of independent, the dependent variable. And mediating is just in between, right? And there are also other two variables, we call it antecedent and outcome variables. Independent variables are also known as antecedent, but again, there are kind of research problem available where you may have antecedent before independent variable. Dependent variable are known as outcome variable, and yet certain kind of research, you may have the outcome variable after dependent variable. Huh? So many new research is on that available, you can see. All right, so theoretical framework is, for the freshers, there are many great professors with me now. This is definitely very simple for you, but for freshers, I have to go through this quickly. So this is a theoretical framework, all right? So if you look at it, the dependent variable is definitely internet abuse, right? Internet abuse. The term, the title of this research is Factor Affecting Internet Abuse at Workplace. I put it in a very simple word. And we have chosen 3 independent variables, right? So this is dependent variable, main problem. And these are the issues I call independent variable. So those independent variables, you see the 3 there, we cannot simply just think and put it there. We can't. We cannot say based on my experience, based on my work experience, based on my reading, we cannot say that. These all independent variables should be supported by theory. And these three independent variables are supported by theory of planned behavior, TPB. Okay, I think most of us are familiar. I put that theory because we are familiar with that theory. Okay, so this is how we do it. So how many hypotheses can we have based on this framework? 3, right? And hypothesis 1 here, there's a relationship between attitude, internet abuse, hypothesis 2, and then hypothesis 3. And I have written 3 different ways of 3 hypotheses. Okay, hypotheses can be written in many different ways. I'm going to share the slide with Dr. Parul Kumar. Immediately after the session, I will WhatsApp to her. And I hope she will share with all the participants, okay? So there are many different ways of writing hypotheses. I have shown you 3. There could be many more ways of writing it, okay? So the hypotheses are constructed based on the theoretical framework we have. Okay, this is another theoretical framework. You can see that we have 3 independent variables. So you have 2 independent variables. So you have 2 hypotheses there. And we have moderating variable 1, whereby you have 2 moderating hypotheses, and you have those are the control variables there. Okay, this is another one I have just shown you earlier, right? Independent variable. Here you can have sometime also antecedent. That's what I talked about earlier. Antecedents are there. So if you look at attitude is formed by usefulness, ease of use, and playfulness and compatibility. And these 4 factors are also supported by a theory called TAM, Technology Acceptance Model. Okay, subjective norm, we have a theory here also, social exchange theory. Passive behavior control, we have also antecedent variable there. And here also we got a theory, supporting theory available. So even, so even after the dependent variable, we can have something else. I'm going to show you afterwards, okay? This is another one. I think it's unstable. It's just moderating variable in between. This is mediating. All right. So this is independent going to dependent, and then you have independent to moderating. Sorry, mediating to dependent. This is Wilson 2015. He advocated that first of all we have to establish that independent variable has impact on dependent variable, and then only we can test the mediating. But now there are many researchers argue it's not really essential, you know, so you can just straight test the mediation. That's also possible. Okay, so that's what I was saying earlier. So you have dependent and independent variable, and you can have even outcome variable. Okay, so say for example, your study is on internet abuse, and you have done a study and you have proved certain hypotheses, all that. But if somebody asks you that internet is abuse, okay, you have proved internet is abuse, so what? So what? So the question of so what, you need to introduce outcome variable, not applicable for all kind of researches. For certain kind of research, you may introduce outcome variables. So internet abuse will lead to work inefficiency and security threat. Some organizational outcomes could be some psychological outcome like depression and loneliness. So we have another 4 hypotheses to test. Okay, so we can have antecedent variable, independent variable, dependent variable, outcome variable, and in between independent and dependent variable, we can have intervening variables like mediating and moderating variable. If you go to my YouTube channel, which is Platform for Research and Development, you can see there's a video available, Developing Theoretical Framework, if you want to learn more about, okay? It's there. All right, there are research also where like economics and finance people, we don't really use framework, rather we use modeling, right? And that's why the data is used. Sometimes we use SPSS also, even AMOS can be used also, right? That's how the models are being described. So I don't have much time, so I have to skip that. All right, so once you have a theoretical framework and you would like to collect the data, then you have to know where do you collect the data, right? As I said, the research problem is like the roots of the tree. So your research problem, where it is rooted, from there you have to collect the data. So you got to know where to collect the data. So if you are doing a research on, say, for example, customer satisfaction of something, there could be millions, like in India, there could be a few 100 million. So you cannot be collecting data for everyone. So you must know where to collect it and how to select the representative sample, all right? So when you go to the street and you buy an orange, the orange seller may not give you the full orange to taste, right? It just give you a slice of orange. You taste it and you feel good and you buy many. How do you know that all other oranges having the same taste? But we believe, right? So we generalize. When you buy mangoes, also the mango seller will give you a slice of mango. We taste, we like it, and we buy many mangoes. How do you know the rest of the mangoes are good? So we generalize based on a little, slight taste that you have. So the sample that we choose got to be representative so that at the end of our research, we can generalize. Even we talk to only 10 people, these 10 people findings can be generalized on 1 million people. So we should be very careful of selecting a sample, right? So I don't think I'm going to explain much on it. So that's how it looks like, right? A target population. Then we have the study population. There's the small sample that we choose for the research. Now, this one I have to talk a bit. Sampling methods are divided into two: probability sampling or random sampling. The other one is non-probability or non-random sampling. I cannot go through one by one as I have how much more time? I think 30 minutes more. Okay, or 20 minutes more. So that I leave for question and answers. Okay. Let me just give you a basic idea of sampling. Which sampling method should you choose? Probability or non-probability? What determines that? All right, please keep in mind, when the list of all possible respondents are available, then we choose probability sampling. If you cannot obtain the list of whole target population, then you cannot use probability sampling. You have to go for non-probability sampling. That's the first criteria to choose. Huh? If we can obtain the list of whole target population, then we use probability sampling. So we have different way of doing that sampling. Huh? If you cannot obtain the list of all targeted population, then we go for non-probability. Okay, that's number one. And number two, generalization. If you need a strong generalization, then you have to go for probability. If you do not require a strong generalization, we go for non-probability. All right, I can go to one by one, possibly some other time if I have time, and if Dr. Parul wants me to, then I can talk about it later. All right, I have to leave it now. Now, data collection. When you collect the data, basically there are two sources available: primary data and secondary data. Primary data is collected for the first time for our research purpose, for the first time. Huh? So it can be done by in-depth interview, individual interview, could be focus group discussion, could be panel of respondents, and some positive techniques available. Even we can do survey by questionnaire, collecting data for the first time. Or it could be secondary data, the data that is already available, data being collected and recorded and being kept. So we can use that data, the secondary data, right? So it again depends on the nature of research problem in hand. Will actually determine what kind of data we are going to collect, right? And it also depends on the research approach, research design, theoretical or conceptual framework, and many things there at the beginning. All those are interrelated. These flows, you start from research philosophy and it flows down until you do your data analysis. That's all are interconnected, okay? So now when we do a research and we see your research philosophy is not connecting the research approach, is not connecting the research design, we know that the research is not a holistic research. Something is wrong somewhere. And that's why you will be caught when you submit paper to a good journal for publication, okay? So the data when you collect, it has to be from the right source of the problem, the root of the problem, where it should be collected. So if the problem involves individuals, data should be collected from individuals. So the individuals become your unit of analysis. You analyze the individual. If the research problem is affecting the household, then the data should be collected from household. If the research problem affecting the organization, the data has to be collected from the organization, and so on. But when we talk about it, be careful of selecting the theory. If your unit of analysis is individual, then your underpinning theory should be individual level theory. And if your unit of analysis is organization, then your theory should be organization level theory. But be very careful. Huh? Many times participants will ask me, how do I know whether it is an individual level theory or organization level theory? You have to go back to the propositions of data. Proposition of theory. Every theory is developed based on certain assumptions and propositions. So look at those assumptions and propositions. That will tell you whether it is individual or whether it is organizational, okay? Now, data analysis, I'm not going to go through. So this is quickly just showing you some methods that are available. For quantitative, SPSS, SAM-PLA, SAM-AMOS, Stata, those are available. And Dr. Parul Kumar, as I was told, that she's expert and have been conducting workshops on it. And for qualitative, it's in vivo, Atlas T, and many other softwares also available. All right. So now you have identified, research problem. Based on that, you have identified research philosophy, research approaches, research design, research method. You have developed a framework, you have constructed hypotheses, you have collected data, you have tested it. Now you have all that in front of you. What are you going to do with that? Now we got to tell the world our story, right? As I say, research is about telling and selling stories. Okay. So now we have to tell the world that we have done a research and that is our outcome. There's something new. No research have found before. Okay. And then that will sell our research. If we can prove to the world that something is new there, either in terms of theory or knowledge, in terms of practical, some contextual issues, policies and regulations and all that, or some methodological, the three aspects, either knowledge or theoretical, practical, contextual, or methodological. If you want to publish our paper, research paper in a good journal, we have to prove that something new is there from any of these three perspectives. That will help us to sell the research, sell the story, sell the plot that we said at the beginning of the research, and the research become successful. All right, so with that, I would like to end my presentation, and I will pass the baton to Dr. Arul Kumar, right? Dr. Parul Kumar, or I'm not sure who is going to moderate now.
No, so right. we have the students, Shaurya and Yamini are there. So they are going to ask they are going to, moderate the session. They're going to put forward the questions. So participants are requested to kindly post their questions on the chat box. It is open. So kindly post the questions so that the Shaurya and Yamini, get your queries answered. Shaurya and Yamini, you can please move forward.
Yes, ma'am. Well, explaining research with a full-grown tree, calling it the tree analogy. Professor Aminul Islam surely make it easy for the audience to understand the subject. Professor Aminul Islam beautifully compared a researcher to a kid. Both are inquisitive about their respective subjects. It was a wonderful session with a talented mind discussing the essentiality of research. All these valuable insights gave us a new perspective towards the same. And rightly said, knowledge shared is knowledge doubled. Let us now begin with the query session. All of you can put up your query in the chat box. Sir, we have a few questions from the audience.
Sure. I think there is a question there I can see on the literature review. I think I have explained that, how to outline the literature review. I said it should start with dependent variable if you can identify the theme of the research. That's where you should start. If your research is organization performance, then your literature review start with definition of organization performance, right? And it flows on with the issues. If your research, say for example, issue is customer satisfaction, it start with customer satisfaction and then it flows down. So the main issue, the problem, research problem, that's where you should start. And that's what I call it theme, right? Thematic presentation. You should start with thematic way of outlining your literature review. You start with the main theme and it flows down. And then when it flows down, it can be presented chronologically. If the research is more focused on theory, then it can combine with the theory. And if it's more focused on method, then it can be combined with methods. Okay, that's how it can be underlined.
Okay, sir. I hope Sayam has understood. Now, the next question is from Samsung. Sir, briefly explain the language of research. Can you share some insights?
All right. I skipped that slide, but I explained many of them, right, already. I have explained about data, concept, theories, constructs, we talk about knowledge, information. I have explained most of them. So even though I did not explain the slide, sorry, my baby is disturbing a bit. Give me a second just to feed him a bit water. Okay. All right. So I think I have spoken about the language of research. We talk about the frequently used terms and jargons in research. When you start reading any research paper, you will see those words are there: ideas, concept, constructs, hypotheses, theories, assumptions, variables, dependent variable, independent, mediating, moderating, control. There are many kind of variables those we see, and I think I have explained all of them. All right.
So, as an undergraduate students, how can we start, working on research? There's a question from Sayed.
All right. In my university, even undergraduate level, they have to do a research in the final year. We call it FYP, final year project. And the structure is same as PhD, 5 chapters: introduction, literature review, theoretical framework, research methodology, results, and conclusion. The same chapterization as PhD thesis. So when the student comes to see us, we'll always tell them, what is your research? What is your interest? What is your interest? What area you like to proceed to your career? So some student will say, okay, I'm interested in marketing. Then we'll ask the student, look at your personality. What kind of personality are you? Are you introvert type, or extrovert type, or ambivert type? You are extrovert type, then marketing should be okay. But if you're introvert type, then marketing may not be okay with you, right? So that's what we look at. We look at our interests, and then we look at the competency, ability, the capacity that we have. Then only we will ask the student, can you identify few research papers on the area of interest? So if you read 4 or 5 papers, then you should be able to find out some kind of title or area of research that I'd like to pursue at the undergraduate level, or even at the master's level, or even at the PhD level also. We did that, right? So when I approached my supervisor that I would like to do a PhD research, she asked me to read 3 papers and then only come and see her. I think most of us, we did that. So undergraduate student may have to do the same.
Thank you, sir. Sharnaz is asking the difference between construct, constant, variable, factors.
Okay. Concept, as I said, something that can be symbolizes, but cannot be measured. That is concept. When you know how to measure a concept, it's become construct. So construct is something measurable. Concept is not measurable, can be symbolized, okay? Now, what are the factors? Basically, all the variables are the factors. All the variables are the factors. This was a question of one of my students. What does it mean by factors? So when you are doing a research, say for example, you are doing a research on factors affecting employee performance or employee satisfaction. So what are the factors affecting employee satisfaction or job satisfaction? So those factors are basically independent variables. So factors are basically variables, independent variables, or even mediating variables. Okay, those are similar variables and factors. Did I answer the question, Miss Surya, right? Surya Gupta.
Yes,
Not sure
sir.
whether I
Yes,
pronounced
sir.
it correctly.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Sir, the next question is from Mr. Divyam Bansal. He said that we have chosen and started the research and we have gathered all info, but how to present it?
Yamini, very young girl, presenting very well. Thank you, Yamini. You are doing undergraduate now? What
Yes.
are you? What year are you now? You have completed undergrad already.
Final year student, BBA final year student.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, very good to see you. Very young, and you are research enthusiast. Something, somebody. Very good to see. Your university, the institute, is doing fantastic job of letting you, getting exposure into research. Very good. I did not really get the question. Can you say it again?
Yes, repeated. Assume we have chosen and started the research and we have gathered all info we gathered, but how to present it?
Okay. When you do research, we don't gather info, right? We collect data. We collect data. We collect data, and then we screen them, then we analyze it. When you analyze it, then we transform the data into information and then later knowledge. And from knowledge also, we develop theory, right? So if you have started the research, then when you're starting, you have to have your research philosophy with you. You have to have right research approaches, right research method, right research design, and all that. Finally, you collect the data, and then you have to do the analysis. And then analysis has to be done based on the framework that we have, testing hypothesis. Then only you will have the results. Once you have the results with you, then you can present it. If you want to present, you can write a paper and present in a conference. You can write a paper, present in a seminar. You can write a paper, and then you can publish in good journals, right? That's how the research is ended.
Okay, sir. The next question is from Abhay Pratap. What statistical software should we apply in research?
All right. I think I've given a bit clue at my last slide, in my last slide. If you are doing a quantitative research whereby your data are numerical, then you will use SPSS or PLS or Stata, depending on the kind of, or even AMOS. If you are doing qualitative research, your data is coming through in-depth interview, focus group, or projective techniques, then you will use NVivo or Atlas T.
Okay. Sir, the next question is from Mr. Edwig Jan. The question is, could you please highlight the difference between conceptual and theoretical framework?
Okay, very good question. I have a very good way of depicting it. I hope you will go to my YouTube channel, Platform for Research and Development. I do have a short video, very short one, presenting the difference between theoretical and conceptual framework. Theoretical framework is developed by using theory, using a theory or using many theories, few theories. That is theoretical framework. In quantitative study, we do that. Conceptual framework is developed using concept. Remember concept, which cannot be measured yet. Cannot be measured yet. Conceptual framework. Remember the building blocks of a theory, ideas, concept, construct, proposition, theory. So if you have theoretical framework, you're using the theories, but conceptual framework, you're using the concept. So it is qualitative research. You start from the very basic. That's where we talk about grounded theory and all that, okay? So conceptual framework is developed based on concept. Theoretical framework is constructed, developed based on theory or theories. All right, Yamini?
Yes, sir. So the next question is from Ms. Simran Mittal. How can we determine an appropriate sample size?
Okay. My time was 1.5 hours. So the topic is essential of research. So I try to connect, all those essential part of research. I cannot go deeper into it. When you talk about appropriate size, there are many tables available. Uma Sakharan, I think you should be very familiar. It's a proud Indian professor, right? Who is an American citizen now. Uma Sakharan has a table that tells you exactly from the table, you can determine how many minimum size is required. Or you can look at also Krejci and Morgan, the similar kind of table that help you to determine the size of the sample, okay? But beside that, there are many different methods also available. For example, now, if you're using PLS, Dr. Parul Kumar, I think will advise you on that. We will go on G-Power, the latest one. G-Power, the beauty of G-Power is it will give you a smaller sample size compared to Uma Sakharan or Krejci and Morgan. Okay, so many different methods are available. You can just go to YouTube or Google and type G-Power. G, girl, G for Germany. So G, star marks and power, that's what you will look at. So G-Power can be used to calculate. There's a certain way of doing it. But if you want the easy way out, then you should be referring to Uma Sakharan table or the table given by Krejci and Morgan.
Sir, I have one question.
Yes, sure.
What is the best way to search for theoretical background?
What is the best way to search for theoretical background of a research? Definitely is literature review. We have to read papers. Read, and read. That's what I said earlier. You have to read research papers, related research papers in the area of your research. When you read research papers, you will see what kind of theory is being used. Again, if you go to my YouTube channel, I do have a few videos on systematic and literature review and critical literature review, where I do show some guidelines. Even I do have a template, how to summarize a paper, how to summarize a 40 pages long paper into one page. I have that. Or even how to summarize 5 papers into one single page. Or even how to summarize 40 papers, 40 research papers into one single page. I have that template proposed, so you can look at. So the answer is, Mr. Raya, definitely Shoria, right? Shoria, sorry. Definitely reviewing, evaluating the past research and research papers.
Thank you, sir. We have a question from Abhay Jain. Where can we find the Sorry.
I saw that. I saw the question. Yeah. I saw the question. But which template? Because I have many different templates. I have presented one with you today, the research problem template, right? It is there. I'm going to share the slide with Dr. Parul. She will hopefully share with you. If you talk about how to summarize papers, that template is available in my YouTube channel. Just go to the video on systematic literature review, critical literature review. Under the video, I provided the link. You click the link, you will get the slides as well as the templates. Okay.
Yes,
that's the beauty of India. People are very inquisitive. They ask a lot of questions. There are countries where I do conduct webinars. Participants do not really ask questions, and I get mad, because if you want to do research, you got to be inquisitive and asking questions. That shows you are a good researcher, because at the end of the research, you're supposed to propose something new, and that comes only when you ask questions. So that's something I find very the beauty of people in India, asking questions. They are very inquisitive. The eagerness of learning something new always there. Very good.
So the next question is from Ms. Simran Arora. Do we need to tell others theory and hypothesis they covered in their research papers if we are giving them in our references?
Yes, definitely, because when you are writing a paper, you have to show your theoretical framework, and then you have to prove and show the evidence. How did you develop the theoretical framework, based on which theories and all that, right? And hypothesis should be definitely constructed and described so that they can see the rationale of how did you test the hypothesis. Okay, so it has to be definitely mentioned.
Due to paucity of time, this is our last question, which is from Ms. Shaurya again. And the question is, sir, being the expert in the field of research, can you suggest how to dodge the myths which prevail in the industry?
First of all, I never say I'm an expert. I have never said that. I would never say it. Remember, knowledge, when we gain knowledge, it has 3 stages. And I want you to understand, especially the freshers. When a person enters into the world of knowledge at the beginning stage, he will have the tendency, or she will have the tendency of showing off, telling people, I'm an expert, I know a lot, so because he learned a bit, and if he's like he knows a lot, and he started showing off. If you see that kind of person, you have to understand that person is just entering into the world of knowledge, the first stage. When a person enters in the next level of knowledge, he will feel like, I learned something, but there's so much more to learn. There's so much more to learn. So when Dr. Parul Kumar and many of you have done PhDs, when we did PhD, my PhD is in finance. And many people will tell you, you are an expert in finance. I say, no, I'm not an expert in finance, because my PhD topic is just 5% of finance topics. 5% of finance topics. So 95% of finance topic has not been researched by me. So how can you tell me I am a finance expert because I have done a PhD? Absolutely not. Okay. So a person, when he enters into the second stage in the world of knowledge, second stage of knowledge, he will feel like, okay, I know something now. I got to know more. That's the second stage. And when the person enter into the top, the highest level of knowledge, he will feel like, I do not know anything. I do not know anything. There's so much thing in the world to know. There's so much thing. How much you know? How much you know? How much you know? Please ask yourself, how much you know? How much you know? So little, right? So as a PhD holder, proudly we put our, I don't like to put prof and doctor with my name, but when I enter into different webinars in different countries, they said, usually I just put my name like that because my name is like that. The PhD, prof and doctor is not my name, part of my name. I don't put it, but there are many countries, they advise me, prof, you have to put that, please. So I started keeping that. So they say then we can identify actually you are a speaker and you are not the ordinary participants and all that. So first is, Shuraya, I am not an expert in research. If Einstein says that he's just playing with the sands of the sea of knowledge. He's playing with the sands in the sea of knowledge. And Einstein is considered the greatest scientist ever we have in this world. If Einstein say like that, what can I say about me? If he says he's playing with the sands in the sea of knowledge, then what I am? Nothing. So I'm not expert in research. So we try to explore and expose ourselves in the world of research. And we try to contribute something the world has contributed to us. We are now, the person is because of contribution of many people, our parents, our siblings, our neighbors, our relatives, our teachers in the school, universities, the professors in the universities and all of them. They have contributed and made it what we are now today, right? So now when we are established, then it is our responsibility to give it back to the society. So one of the way to give it back to the society is doing research and giving new contribution, new knowledge to the society. All right. So when you do research, we come out with good outcomes. It could be new knowledge contribution, could be new methodological contribution. It could be some policy regulation contribution, contextual, practical contribution. That makes a research great. And that's where we become great as a researcher, right? But we will never say we are an expert. I am an expert. I don't like that. I don't like that. I do have students. I have produced 20 PhDs so far. 20 PhD students has completed with me and 15 PhD students still doing research with me. My university, we have a quota of maximum 15. So my quota is always full. 15 is always there. Once completed, the other one already come in. And I do have also now 15 postdoctoral students with me. 15. Please mind it. 15 PhD student, 15 postdoctoral students. So I have 30 research students with me. And I work with them. And I learn a lot from them. But sometime when I find one of my students completed PhD, they started showing off. Then I will say, hey, please stop. So you got a PhD doesn't mean you become the father of knowledge. You are just entering in the world of research. Now you are a certified researcher. That is PhD, that's it. Nothing more than that. You just learn how to do research. You have completed PhD, you are a certified, researcher. So there are many freshers here, very young, energetic Indian citizens here. That's why I thought at the end, I would like to say this. Please be humble. Now, the more knowledgeable you become, the more humble you should be, because the purpose of gaining knowledge is to share with people. When you are humble, it's easy to share. People will learn from you. When you are not humble, you cannot transfer the knowledge to people. People will not learn from you. So the purpose of gaining knowledge is defeated. All right. So you have to stay humble. You have to be flexible. You have to be friendly. That's the world now. Okay. Thank you very much. I think I have tried to tackle most of your questions. And thank you for patience hearing. So I pass it to Dr. Parul now. Dr. Parul, you have to unmute your microphone.
No, I did. Sir, thank you so much. You have actually enlightened all of us, and we have so many undergraduate students and the, research scholars as well. And I know that many of my students got the inspiration today And God knows our main student would be doing the postdoctoral or maybe PhDs under Professor Aminul. So we would soon be seeing that. And it's, you know, your expertise only. That is why never your seats are, you know, are empty. It is totally filled. So I will try to look for my spot in the postdoctoral in the near future with you, sir. It will be a great pleasure for all our faculties and for all our students, sir. So thank you so much, sir.
Welcome. All right, so thank you very much for inviting me and having patience to listen to me for 2 hours. And hope to see you some other occasion. All right?
Sure, definitely, sir. Okay, Shaurya, please continue.
Thank you, sir, for answering all the queries and inspiring us with your motivating words. Before we proceed, I'd like to request all the attendees to fill the feedback assessment form for the assessment. Now, I would like to invite the co-convener of the Research Congress 21, Ms. Rachita Agarwal, for the vote of thanks. Ms. Rachita Agarwal is a graduate from Hansraj College, Delhi University, and has done MCom from Delhi School of Economics. She is net qualified assistant professor with Mains for the past 3 years and is a young scholar pursuing PhD from Maharaja Agrasen University, Baddi. Her area of interest include accounting and finance. I request ma'am to please unmute herself and present the vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, Shaurya. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. As Mark Twain rightly said, supposing is good, but finding out is even better. Today's session also helped us in finding out facts about the essentials of research. The session was indeed a great learning experience for all of us. For this, I would like to thank Professor Aminul Islam for sharing his precious knowledge about research with us. Sir, you have truly made this learning very interesting with all the wonderful examples you gave. You made it all so easy to understand. Once again, thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation and enlightening us with your words. We are truly, truly grateful for you to give us your valuable time. I would also like to present a very warm gratitude to Mr. Jeffy Gill for being there with us today. Alumni like you always bring a sense of pride for the Institute. We wish you all the good luck and success in life. We hope to work with you in future as well. With this, I would like to present my warm thank you to respected Dr. Nand Kishore Garg, our founder, chairman, and chancellor, Maharaja Agrasen University, Baddi. He has always been a source of guiding light for us. Sir, your vision for the Institute has always motivated us to take up new endeavors. I would also like to thank Professor Dr. S Kiger, Director General, Mains, for taking out time from his busy schedule to join us here. Thank you so much, sir, for supporting us in all our initiatives. A big thank you to Professor G.P. Goel, Advisor, Mates, for sharing his words of wisdom with us. Thanks to Professor Ravikumar Gupta, Director, Mains, for always motivating us to take up new challenges and projects and guiding us at each and every step. Again, I would like to thank Professor Dr. Vijay Khurana, Head, Department of Business Administration, for giving us this opportunity to be a part of this event. Last but not the least, a very big thank you to Dr. Parul Kumar, Convener, Research Congress, for managing things at such an ease and bringing a platform which would enable the academicians and the students to understand research from experienced and learned professionals. A very thank you to all my fellow colleagues, dear students and participants for your patient listening. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and to all the attendees who made this session a success. I request all the attendees to kindly fill the feedback assessment form circulated in the chat box. As Albert Einstein once said, research is creating new knowledge. On this note, Shaurya and I, Yamini, would like to take your leave and bring today's session to an end. Well, today's session has definitely brought new insights to us. Sir's deep in-depth knowledge of the subject made this presentation all the more engaging and informative. This was day 1. Day 2 has another session planned for the audience. Professor Dr. Dilip Kumar, M. Director, Research and Innovation, Live Field Research Center, Malaysia, will talk about overview of research methodology, our topic of the session. Thank you. Wish you a wonderful day ahead. Stay home and stay safe.
All right, so you all stay safe, stay home, stay safe, and take care of yourself well, okay, during this pandemic time. And we pray for each other. And
yes, sir, definitely, sir. Same for you, sir. Thank you very much again, sir. On behalf of whole MIMS fraternity, thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation.
Thank you. So if you allow me, can I leave now?
Sure, sir, sure. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll take care. Be safe.